Hey everyone! Today we're going to dig into something that is absolutely fundamental to every single harvest: plant nutrition. Because, it's not just about feeding your plants, it's about giving them the right food at the right time and in the right combinations.
So let me start by asking you a really important question. When you look out at your fields, do your plants truly have everything they need to thrive? A lot of the time, the answer is hidden right there beneath the surface, in the soil and the nutrients they're trying to absorb.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at the plant's essential toolkit, the must-have nutrients. Then, we'll dive into what each one actually does. After that, we'll explore the power of teamwork, but also what happens when nutrients just don't get along. And we'll wrap it all up with 5 solid rules for a healthy harvest. Sound good? Let's get into it.
Okay, I want you to think of your crop's health like a team sport. To get that big win, that perfect harvest, every single player has to be on the field, ready to contribute. And in this game, our players are the essential nutrients. Here they are, the 8 key players we're going to focus on. You've got everything from nitrogen, which is kind of like the engine for growth, all the way down to copper, which helps with things like immunity. The thing to remember is each one has a super specific job, and you can't just substitute one for another. The entire team has to show up.
All right, so we've met the team. Now it's time to open up the playbook. How do all these different nutrients actually work together to pull off the thousands of complex jobs a plant has to do day in and day out?
And this chart lays it all out for us. On the left, you see the plant's critical jobs, and right across the top are our nutrient players. A Y means that nutrient is an absolute must for that job. And what's so fascinating here is just how many Ys you see for each task. It's almost never a one-player job. To really get a feel for this, let's just zoom in on one of the most incredible jobs a plant does: photosynthesis. You know, the magic of turning sunlight into pure energy? And would you look at that? It is absolutely not a solo act. It takes a whole 5-player team just to make photosynthesis happen efficiently: nitrogen, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, and copper. If even one of those is missing or in short supply, that whole energy-making process just slows right down. And believe me, the plant's growth is going to suffer for it.
Okay, so that's how the plant makes its energy. But what about its foundation? The part that holds it all together. Let's take a look at what it takes to build a really strong root system. And boom, we see a completely different team stepping onto the field for root growth: phosphorus, calcium, and boron. This right here is the perfect example of why you can't just throw a generic one-size-fits-all fertilizer out there and hope for the best. Different jobs and different growth stages demand totally different nutritional support.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about having all the players on the field. It's about how they play together. Some nutrients actually help each other work better. It's a concept called synergy. Think of these as the winning combinations, the power couples. You pair nitrogen with sulfur, and suddenly the plant can form complete proteins. I'm talking about the actual building blocks for growth and yield. Or you pair potassium with calcium, and you get these strong, sturdy stems that are way less likely to get sick or fall over. These partnerships are a huge deal. They amplify the benefits and give you way more bang for your buck from your fertilizer program.
But, just like on any team, there are good teammates, and then there are players who just don't get along. This is called antagonism, and it's something every single grower needs to watch out for, because you could accidentally be hurting your own crop.
This is just a perfect illustration. We just saw that potassium and calcium are a great team. But look what happens when you pair calcium with phosphorus. It can actually block the absorption of both of them. So you could be applying plenty of nutrients, spending good money on them, but the plant simply can't access them because of this negative interaction in the soil.
And here's another classic trap. It might seem like a great idea to just pump a crop full of nitrogen to make it grow big and fast, but if you do that without enough potassium to give it strength and structure, you just end up with a soft, weak, flimsy crop that's practically a sitting duck for pests and disease. Balance, my friends, is everything. Okay, so we've met the players, we've looked at the playbook, we've seen the team dynamics. So, what do we do with all this? How do we put it into practice? Let's break it down into a simple, straightforward action plan.
Here are the 5 big rules. First, you have to think holistically. One bag of fertilizer is not going to solve all your problems. Second, know your field. That means get your soil tested, don't guess. Third, remember that balance is absolutely key. You need that mix of major and minor nutrients. Fourth,
Timing matters a lot. Getting the right combinations at the right time is crucial. And finally, number 5, feed your crop for every stage of its life, from getting the roots going all the way to filling out the grain.
When you boil it all down, it really comes back to this one simple, powerful equation. Balanced nutrition leads to a healthy crop, and a healthy crop leads to a higher yield. That's it. That's the foundation that this whole thing is built on.
So, as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Take a really honest look at what you're doing right now. Is your fertilizer plan a truly balanced strategy designed to support the whole team? Or is it just a single solution aimed at a single problem? The answer to that question could be the key to unlocking the best harvest you've ever had.